UFC Fight Night Lewis vs. Spivac is coming up, and I'm going to be doing full card predictions and breakdowns for each of the fights on the card from top to bottom. If you have not joined my Tapology group before, or you haven't at all, you can join here. We already have 8 members. You can join and make your picks, and it basically tracks your picks for however long you do it. And it'll give you like a percentage at the end of the year or for how long you've been doing it. Gives you a good percentage. If we get about like 10 people in there, I'll start posting stuff in there, but I'll only start posting for the bigger cards as of right now, but I can start posting in there more if we get some more people in there. So without further ado, let's get right into the card. We have Taira versus Jesus Aguilar. Taira 12-0, 23 years of age and 70 inches of reach. Aguilar 8-1, 26 years of age and 62.5 inches of reach. Taira will have a 7.5 inch reach advantage in this matchup. I am going to go with Taira. I think he's just way better than Jesus Aguilar. I don't think he's minus 1,000 better than Jesus Aguilar, but for Jesus Aguilar, he's really small. And I just think Taira is just going to be faster, and he's going to be able to mix in his takedowns and everything like that. So even with Jesus Aguilar on the feet, he does tend to like overswing. He is kind of powerful, but he overswings a lot. There's a lot of openings for Taira to be quick and hit some good counters and then mix in the takedowns there. Even when in his Contender Series fight for Jesus Aguilar against Arison Ferreira, Jesus Aguilar was getting him against the fence, and he was just able to just push off and just land right on top of him. So his height's a big issue for him. It says he's only 5'4". I don't even know if that's true in all honesty. I believe he has trained with Brandon Moreno. I may be incorrect about that, but I still think Taira is just the better prospect here. Not minus 1,000, but I think he'll get the job done. Maybe a decision, because Jesus Aguilar is very tough, but I can see him getting a submission here. So I'll go decision for Taira in the first fight of the card. Up the card, we have Jeong Yeong Park versus Denis Tiuliulin. Park 15-5, 31 years of age, 73 inches of reach. Tiuliulin 11-6, 34 years of age and 77 inches of reach. Tiuliulin will have a 4-inch reach advantage. I am going to go with Denis Tiuliulin. He's a really entertaining fighter, especially in his last match against Jamie Pickett. He looked very impressive there. He has a really powerful right hand. He also showed that against Khizriev, which we haven't seen in a while. I got a couple questions about that. I don't know where he's at. I should probably look it up a little bit more, but looked really good against Khizriev. Did actually land a couple good power shots that kind of like moved Khizriev a little bit. Didn't necessarily hurt him, but it moved him. Landed some very powerful shots on Jamie Pickett. And again, that right hand is just super powerful, has really good takedown defense. So I don't think Jeong Yeong Park's going to be able to get him down. I think Denis Tiuliulin wins on the feet also. So this is a clean 30-27 win, or I can see Denis Tiuliulin finishing him in the later rounds. Probably around the second round, I see him finishing Jeong Yeong Park in this one. So I'm going to go late second round TKO, but if not, I think it's going to be a pretty clean 30-27 for this one. So up the card, we have Ji Young Kim versus Mandy Bohm. Kim 9-6-2, 33 years of age and 72 inches of reach. Bohm 7-2, 33 years of age and 71 inches of reach. Ji Young Kim will have a 1-inch reach advantage in this one. I am going to go with Ji Young Kim. This fight's pretty much a whatever match. They're both 2-loss streak for Mandy Bohm and 4-loss streak for Ji Young Kim. I do believe Ji Young Kim might have won over Priscilla Cachoeira, and then she also went to a split decision in her last match against Jocelyn Edwards. For Mandy Bohm, her last 2 defeats were against Victoria Leonardo and Ariana Lipsky. So take that, I guess, with a grain of salt. This is lower women's MMA, so you can expect it to be a certain kind of fight. But I'm going to go Ji Young Kim with this one. I think she's fighting better than Mandy Bohm, but it's just not going her way in the decision. So I'm going to go Ji Young Kim by decision for this one. Classic women's MMA. Up the card, we have Yun Sung Park versus Sung Guk Choi. Park 7-0, 27 years of age and 66 inches of reach. Choi 6-1, 26 years of age and 64 inches of reach. Park will have a 2-inch reach advantage in this one. I am going to go with Park. I think he's going to be able to defend the takedowns, and also in Choi's fights, he really doesn't do much. So that's pretty much why I'm going with Park in this. This is a pretty much a whatever match. It feels like these guys kind of in the tournament is like an iffy matchup. Was this the finals? Oh boy. But yeah, I think he can defend the takedowns and get a finish is basically what this is. This isn't a matchup I'm super excited about. The other ones are a little bit better for the tournament. This was a part of the Singapore tournament that they started in the Singapore card at like UFC 275. They did the second round in Abu Dhabi in like October for that Oliveira and Makhachev card. So I guess this is the finals for this one. There's 4 different finals. I believe it's flyweight, bantamweight, featherweight, and lightweight. So there's going to be 3 other tournament fights on this card. But yeah, for this is like the most meh fight on the tournament card. So yeah, I'm going to go Park and probably by finish for him. Up the card, we have Rinya Nakamura versus Toshiomi Kazama. Nakamura 6-0, 27 years of age and 68 inches of reach. Kazama 10-2, 25 years of age and 69 inches of reach. Kazama will have a 1-inch reach advantage, but I am going to go with Nakamura here. He's one of the guys I actually kind of want to watch on this card. I was watching some of his fights on this tournament, and I was like super impressed. He's actually like a kind of like a crazy dude. He straight up just walks through punches and just starts throwing. And it's pretty crazy on the ground too. Had a really good submission. I guess it was he was elbowing the dude's back of the head. They got him to stand up, and then a good submission on the ground against Guga and Guzman, and got a really nice TKO against Shohei Nose. I hope is that how you say that? I don't know. Shohei Nose, but had a really good finishes there. Looked impressive on the feet. Looked impressive on the ground. I think he finishes Toshiomi Kazama pretty relatively early, I guess. So for his last couple fights, they both ended in the first round, especially for this tournament card. That's pretty good. For Toshiomi Kazama, he had his first fight against, I'm not going to try and say that, and then I believe Woo Kim didn't make weight or something like that. So I'm going to go with Nakamura here. I think he's definitely the more impressive fighter. So minus 450, maybe that's probably correct there, but I'm going to go with Nakamura. He's just very vicious, walks guys down. Maybe Kazama can catch him because he does take a lot of shots, but he's just a crazy dude. He just takes shots and unloads on these guys, even on the ground defensively, good submissions and everything. So I'm going to go Nakamura in this one by finish. Up the card, we have Zha Yi versus Jeong Yeong Lee. Yi is 21-3, 26 years of age and 71 inches of reach. Lee is 9-1, 27 years of age and 73 inches of reach. Lee will have a 2-inch reach advantage, and I am going to go with Lee for this matchup. For all of his matchups on the road to the UFC, he's finished guys like within seconds of the first round. Even before then against Hyun Park, 10 seconds, 36 seconds, 42 seconds. So he's finishing these guys pretty impressively and pretty quickly. Binzi, I think is how you say that. He won by an armbar submission off his back. Looks super impressive there. And then one against Kai Lu, just destroyed him on the feet also. So has looked really good, especially early on in fights. For Zha Yi, he's just very open on the feet, which is why I'm not picking him here for his last couple fights. One by submission in his first matchup, and then one by split decision in the second one. So I'm going to go with Jeong Yeong Lee for this one. I think he gets a finish in that first round. Maybe not within seconds, but maybe he does. He's just really good on the ground, really good on the feet. Up the card, we have Anshul Jubli versus Jeka Saragih. Jubli, 6-0, 28 years of age and 69 inches of reach. Serghei is 13-2, 28 years of age and 69 inches of reach. I am going to go with Jubli here. I think he is a little better on the feet than Serghei. Serghei does have some really good power in his hands, but I think Jubli is a little bit more technical and does have a really good, I guess it hasn't been tested too crazily. His last fight was on a split decision win over, let me look through this real quick. A split decision win over Kyung Pyo Kim. His first matchup was canceled, I believe, for this event, so he was able to just move on against Usami, who I guess missed weight. So, but I do think he's going to be a lot more technical on the feet than Jeka Serghei. And I think Serghei, even though he does have that really good power in his hands, absolutely obliterated his last opponent, won by key, and then won by spinning back fist on the road to the UFC. I just think Jubli is just a lot better on the feet. I think he's just more technical. I think he has a decent enough chin to take some of the shots of Serghei if they do land. So yeah, that's why I'm going with Jubli by decision. I just think he's going to be a little bit more technical for Serghei, and I don't think the damage is going to be there for Serghei to win this matchup. So I'm going to go Jubli by maybe a 29-28 decision. Maybe he gets hurt a little bit by Serghei, but I think or maybe Serghei just makes it close for a round, but I do think Jubli does win this matchup. Up the card, we have Yuksaku Kinoshita versus Adam Fugitt. Kinoshita 6'1", 22 years of age, 71.5 inches of reach. Fugitt 8'3", 34 years of age, and 77 inches of reach. Fugitt will have a, let me see if I can do my math, 5.5 inches of reach on Kinoshita. I am going to go with Kinoshita in this matchup. Fugitt did come in on short notice against Michael Morales. Just straight up debuted in there. I don't remember who pulled it out of that matchup against Michael Morales, but he did step in against him. Wait, did anyone pull out of that matchup? Well, let me check real quick. I probably should have thought of this before the card, but no. So I guess they just gave him that matchup. But he did step in on short notice, I believe, against Michael Morales. Did actually hold his own in there. Did get TKO'd eventually, but did hold his own. Surprisingly, Michael Morales is a really good prospect and did do decent in that one. For Yuksaku, Kinoshita was on the Contender Series against Jose Enrique Souza, a 20-year-old that a lot of people were looking at Enrique more. They're like, oh, he's an LFA. Looked very impressive there. But for Kinoshita, he's been at Ryzen. I don't know if you guys seen the video going around a little bit, but I guess it's more of a, if you watch like the CT Society Instagram or whatever, or some of the, I think even like an MMA Uncensored, I posted it, but there's like this video of him going or fighting against a guy, knocks him down, and just a bunch of head stomps against the fence after he kind of knocked him down. So it was a disqualification. I believe it was grabbing the cage because he grabbed the cage and was like stomping on his head. But yeah, this is this guy. He looked super impressive on the Contender Series, knocking out Enrique Souza. So yeah, that's why I'm going to go with Yuksaku Kinoshita in this one. Maybe by finish, but I can see this going to a decision. Up the card, we have Doohoo Choi versus Kyle Nelson. Doohoo Choi, 14-4, 31 years of age, 70 inches of reach. Nelson, 13-5, 31 years of age, and 71 inches of reach. Nelson will have a 1-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I think I am going to go with Doohoo Choi in here. He hasn't fought in like 3 years. And his last couple fights were against Jeremy Stevens and Charles Jourdain, where he both lost. Where in both matchups he lost by TKO KO. For Kyle Nelson, he's lost 4 of his last 5 to Jai Herbert, Billy Q. 1 against Polo Reyes. Let's see. Lost to Matt Sales and then lost to Diego Ferreira. So he's lost to some decent names there, but his most recent fight lost to Jai Herbert. Couldn't finish him there. And Jai Herbert's a good fighter, but his chin's not necessarily there. And if you can't really find that, I don't know if I can really trust him against a Doohoo Choi. He's taken some time off, but Doohoo Choi is very skilled and 31 years of age also. So I am going to go with Doohoo Choi in this one. I think he's just going to be better on the feet and will be able to win by decision. So up the card, we have Marcin Tybura versus Blagoy Ivanov. Tybura, 23-7, 37 years of age, and 78 inches of reach. Ivanov, 19-4, 36 years of age, and 73 inches of reach. Tybura will have a 5-inch reach advantage in this matchup. I am going to go with Marcin Tybura. His last fight against Alex Romanov was pretty impressive. He did win a majority decision, even though I did think it was supposed to be a draw, because I believe Alexander Romanov got the first round like a 10-8 in my book, and then Tybura won the last 2. But I thought that should have been a draw, but still pretty impressive against an Alexander Romanov. Lost to Alexander Volkov, lost to Walt Harris, lost to Greg Hardy, and won against Walt Harris, won against Greg Hardy, and then won against Ben Rothwell. I don't know why I said he lost all those, but for Blagoy Ivanov, won against Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who is a pretty good power puncher. He won that fight, pretty much held him against the fence. Lost to Augusto Sakai, who I don't even know if he's still in the UFC. Lost to Derrick Lewis by split decision, which is bad. Won against Tai Tuivasa and won against Ben Rothwell. So he's had some close matchups against some of the higher opponents. Won against Tai Tuivasa, which looks decent, and then won against Rogerio de Lima. So those power punchers he's able to survive against. I am going to go with Marcin Tybura. I think he's just going to be better on the feet, and I think Ivanov just kind of keeps guys against the fence, and I think Tybura will probably be able to get the points off, especially hopefully if the judging is correct and they don't count like him holding him against the fence as control time. Tybura should win this pretty easily, probably 29-28. but I think it'll be a pretty clear win for Marcin Tybura here. So up the card, we have Young versus Devin Clark. Young, 15-3, 29 years of age, 78.5 inches of reach. Clark, 13-7, 32 years of age and 75 inches of reach. Young will have a 3.5-inch reach advantage in this one. I am going to go with Young. In his last matchup, I did take him against Dustin Jacoby, and he got absolutely flatlined in that matchup. So I'm a little uneasy picking him, but he does have a win over Kennedy and Nzukwu. I never say his name right. Nzukwu has a TKO over him, which is pretty impressive. A decent win over William Knight. Pretty much like powered him, out wrestled him, and threw him. It was insane, especially for the size of William Knight. Split decision to Sam Alvey. Split draw to Sam Alvey. And a KO win over Mike Rodriguez. So for Devin Clark, his last few matches, lost to Azamat Murzakanov by KO, won against William Knight by KO, lost to Ian Kutalaba by decision, lost to Anthony Smith by a triangle. So for this one, I do think Young will be better on the feet. For Devin Clark, I think he's a little bit too patient there, and I think Young will be able to strike and beat up Devin Clark. I do think he does have the better win over the guys they've fought, so I am going to go with Young. A TKO win over Kennedy Nzukwu is solid. He was doing all right against Dustin Jacoby before he got flatlined. He even just got up right afterwards, so it was just like a really weird situation there. He's only 29 years old, so I'm going to go with him here. He also has a pretty solid reach advantage in this matchup, so I am going to go with Young by a decision. Pretty clear 20, no, I'm sorry, not 20, by like a 30-27 or like a 29-28 maybe. But I think 30-27, clear 30-27 is probably the way to go here. Up the card, we have Derrick Lewis versus Serghei Spivac. Derrick Lewis, 26-10, 37 years of age and 79 inches of reach. Serghei Spivac, 15-3, 28 years of age and 78 inches of reach. Derrick Lewis will have a 1-inch reach advantage in this one. He's going to be quite a bit older than Serghei Spivac, about 9 years older. For this one, I originally, guess to kind of give a little recap on this matchup, these guys were supposed to fight last year. Derrick Lewis, I think, had like the shits or something and then ended up pulling out, was in the doctors. Said he was trying to get his way back to the arena to fight. They just didn't allow it, so he got like a Kennedy Nzukwu versus Ian Kutalaba main event, which was horrible. And then we have this fight being rescheduled, Derrick Lewis versus Serghei Spivac. Initially, in my early predictions and that prediction video for the original matchup, I chose Derrick Lewis. I said his size is going to help him with the takedown defense. He already has pretty good takedown defense, and his size basically helps him here with how heavy he is. But recently, I've seen Derrick Lewis like lose a lot of weight, so it's making me very questionable and making me question picking him in this one. He's also 37 years of age, almost 38, actually like extremely close to 38 years old. I just think he's on the other side of his career here. I think he's almost there at being done. I think Serghei Spivac, with the weight loss for Derrick Lewis, I think he's going to be able to avoid some of those bigger shots early on from Derrick Lewis and be able to push him against the fence, take him down, hook him to the ground, and basically just unload some punches. It's like exactly how he did against Augusto Sakai. Just unload a bunch of punches. Same thing with Greg Hardy. Just hold him on the ground and unload some punches. So he actually... So I guess to recap his fights, Augusto Sakai TKO win, Greg Hardy TKO win, lost Tom Aspinall, which isn't a bad loss. Won against Alexei Oleinik, and then won against Jared Van Deer. So he's winning against the guys he's supposed to win against. Top 5 Aspinall's one of the best in the division. For this matchup, I am going to choose Serghei Spivac though. I think if Derrick Lewis wouldn't have lost all that weight, like the picture that was released of him like jogging and he looks actually pretty lean, is pretty much what's making me choose Spivac here. I don't think the size is going to be able to help Derrick Lewis for this one, so I am going to go Serghei Spivac. I think he's going to be able to take him down, and if not like completely on the ground, just like hold him against the fence and just unload punches, and then you'll see Derrick Lewis kind of get uncomfortable and just be like, okay, I'm done with the matchup. I'm getting paid. My show money's here, because he is getting paid quite a bit, Derrick Lewis, I'm pretty sure. Got show money. I don't think he really wants to get to the top of the division anymore. I think he's kind of just there for a paycheck at this point. So I think Derrick Lewis is going to try and headhunt a little bit. Maybe he does connect with Serghei a couple times and hurt him, but I do think Serghei is going to be able to trip him. hold him against the ground, or hold him on the ground, unload TKO punches and ground and pound on Derrick Lewis. So I do have Spivac by like a late round 1 TKO. I just think Derrick Lewis's head is probably not wanting to be in the top of the division anymore. So but also on the flip side, Derrick Lewis also has that crazy KO power and can easily win this matchup. So I am going to go with Derrick Lewis, or not Derrick Lewis. I'm going to go with Serghei Spivac by a late round 1 TKO punches, maybe early second round. Maybe Serghei gets there a little late, but I'm going to go Serghei Spivac for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, you can join my Tapology group down below to make your picks this weekend. If you don't want to, it's all good. Comment down below who you think will win with Derrick Lewis for Serghei Spivak. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys